All right. Hello, my name is Zoe Van Nostrand. I am the Marketing and Visitor Experience Coordinator for the History Center in Tompkins County. And I want to thank Amnesty International Ithaca chapter for inviting us to be part of the Banned Books Week. I'm sorry I couldn't join live tonight, but there's a lot going on with Applefest in town. So I'm pre-recording this. You might hear some sound. There's a lot of crowds outside at Applefest today, but we're really excited to be a part of this program. So for those who don't know, the History Center in Tompkins County is located on the Ithaca Commons at 110 North Cayuga Street, located inside the Tompkins Center for History and Culture on Bank Alley. We're a free museum. We're open Wednesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we really encourage everyone to come and explore. Our current exhibit is Breaking Barriers, Women's Lives and Livelihoods, exploring the histories and stories of women in Tompkins County, starting with the Haudenosaunee influence on the women's rights movement and through the civil rights and moving all the way into the present day as women continue to break barriers and create community and culture in our area. You can learn more at thehistorycenter.net/breakingbarriers. So today I'm going to be reading a chapter from The Wonderful Wizard of Oz by Elle Baum. It was originally published in 1900, and as some of you may know, some of you might not, I've also got our Ithaca kitty here to keep me company as I read. Frank Baum grew up just north of Syracuse in Chittenango, New York. In 1882, he married Maud, who was the daughter of noted activist Matilda Joslyn Gage. Currently, as part of our Breaking Barriers exhibit, we have the Haudenosaunee Influence on Women's Rights display, which is on loan to our organization from the Matilda Joslyn Gage Foundation, which is now located in Fayetteville, New York. So very exciting that Frank Baum not only grew up in central New York, but also married the daughter of a phenomenal suffragist and activist who fought for women's rights, native rights and representation, and equal wage and labor laws. Matilda Joslyn Gage was ahead of her time and even radical by today's standards. So definitely encourage you to look her up and learn more about her life. And although it has not been verified, there are some accounts that the iconic yellow brick road in The Wonderful Wizard of Oz was inspired by the bricked roads in Ithaca. That doesn't have historic certainty, but we do consider it likely that that is how he was inspired, because there were historically yellow roads within the city of Ithaca. Okay, so The Wonderful Wizard of Oz has been banned a number of times throughout the decades since it was originally published in 1900. It has been banned for having a female heroine, for presenting presenting women in strong leadership roles, for ungodly aspects. It has been, in the 1950s, it was termed unwholesome and to have no value for children. And perhaps most iconically, in 1968, it was banned for depictions of nice witches and the belief that the essential human attributes were individually developed rather than given by God. So this iconic children's story that is perhaps most well known for its movie adaptation with Judy Garland has been banned throughout the decades for a number of reasons, and it does have local Tompkins County History Center connections. So I'm going to read a little bit of it for you. I'm going to start with Chapter 3, How Dorothy Saved the Scarecrow. When Dorothy was left alone, she began to feel hungry. So she went to the cupboard and cut herself some bread, which she spread with butter. She gave some to Toto, and taking a pail from the shelf, she carried it down to the little brook and filled it with clear, sparkling water. Toto ran over to the trees and began to bark at the birds sitting there. When Dorothy went to get him and saw such delicious fruit hanging from the branches that she gathered some of it, finding it just what she wanted to help out her breakfast. Then she went back to the house, and having helped herself and Toto to a good drink of the cool, clear water, she set about making ready for the journey to the City of Emeralds. Dorothy had only one other dress, but that happened to be clean and was hanging on a peg beside her bed. It was gingham with checks of white and blue. And although the blue was somewhat faded with many washings, it was still a pretty frock. The girl washed herself carefully, dressed herself in the clean gingham, and tied her pink sunbonnet on her head. She took a little basket and filled it with bread from the cupboard, laying a white cloth over the top. Then she looked down at her feet and noticed how old and worn her shoes were. "They surely will never do for a long journey, Toto," she said. And Toto looked up into her face with his little black eyes and wagged his tail to show he knew what she meant. At that moment, Dorothy saw lying on the table the silver shoes that had belonged to the Witch of the East. "I wonder if they will fit me," she said to Toto. "They would be just the thing to take a long walk in, for they could not wear out." She took off her old leather shoes and tried on the silver ones, which fitted her as well as if they had been made for her. Finally, she picked up her basket. "Come along, Toto," she said. "We will go to the Emerald City and ask the Great Oz how to get back to Kansas again." She closed the door, locked it, and put the key carefully in the pocket of her dress. And so, with Toto trotting along soberly behind her, she started on her journey. There were several roads nearby, but it did not take her long to find the one paved with yellow brick. Within a short time, she was walking briskly toward the Emerald City, her silver shoes tinkling merrily on the hard yellow roadbed. The sun shone bright and the birds sang sweet, and Dorothy did not feel nearly as bad as you might think, a little girl who had been suddenly whisked away from her own country and set down in the middle of a strange land. She was surprised as she walked along to see how pretty the country was about her. There were neat fences at the sides of the road, painted a dainty blue color, and beyond them were fields of grain and vegetables in abundance. Evidently, the Munchkins were good farmers and able to raise large crops. Once in a while, she would pass a house, and the people came out to look at her and bow low as she went by, for everyone knew that she had been the means of destroying the wicked witch and setting them free from bondage. The houses of the Munchkins were odd-looking dwellings, for each was round with a big dome for a roof. All were painted blue, for in this country of the East, blue was the favorite color. Towards evening, when Dorothy was tired with her long walk and began to wonder where she should pass the night, she came to a house rather larger than the rest. On the green lawn before it, many men and women were dancing. 5 little fiddlers played as loudly as possible, and the people were laughing and singing, while a big table nearby was loaded with delicious fruits and nuts, pies and cakes, and many other good things to eat. The people greeted Dorothy kindly and invited her to supper and to pass the night with them, for this was the home of one of the richest Munchkins in the land, and his friends were gathered with him to celebrate their freedom from the bondage of the wicked witch. Dorothy ate a hearty supper and was waited upon by the rich Munchkin himself, whose name was Bach. And then she sat down upon a settle and watched the people dance. When Bach saw her silver shoes, he said, "You must be a great sorceress." "Why?" asked the girl. "Because you wear silver shoes and have killed the wicked witch. Besides, you have white in your frock, and only witches and sorceresses wear white." "My dress is blue and white checked," said Dorothy, smoothing out the wrinkles in it. "It is kind of you to wear that," said Bach. "Blue is the color of the Munchkins, and white is the witch color, so we know that you are a friendly witch." Dorothy did not know what to say to this, for all the people seemed to think her a witch, and she knew very well that she was only an ordinary little girl who had come by chance of a cyclone into a strange land. When she had tired of watching the dancing, Bach led her into the house, where he gave her a room with a pretty bed in it. The sheets were made of blue cloth, and Dorothy slept soundly in them till morning, with Toto curled up on the blue rug beside her. She ate a hearty breakfast and watched a wee Munchkin baby who played with Toto and pulled his tail, and crowed and laughed in a way that greatly amused Dorothy. Toto was a fine curiosity to all the people, for they had never seen a dog before. "How far is it to the Emerald City?" the girl asked. "I do not know," answered Bach gravely, "for I have never been there. It is better for people to keep away from Oz, unless they have business with him, but it is a long way to the Emerald City, and it will take you many days. The country here is rich and pleasant, but you must pass through rough and dangerous places before you reach the end of your journey." This worried Dorothy a little, but she knew that only the Great Oz could help her get back to Kansas again, so she bravely resolved not to turn back. All right, that's all that I'm going to read for you today, but I want to thank everyone again for joining us for Banned Book Week, and I hope that all of you enjoy adding some banned books to your bookshelves to make sure that these stories and memories are preserved. We have over 1,200, over 4,000 books available at the History Center Research Library, and we do hope that if you're interested in the history of Tompkins County, you will make an appointment and visit with us. Explore our online resources at thehistory.net, and thank you again for including us in tonight's program.